Hello, I'm Tony from Bonner's Keyboard Centres, and today I'm reviewing and giving you an overview of the brand new Nord Wave 2 synthesizer. So the purpose of this video is to show you the things that you're really going to need when you first start playing one of these or using one of these keyboards, and to show you really how to get the best out of it. I'm not going to go into depth in terms of creating my own sound from scratch with completely blank oscillator. There's already a video online from the manufacturer that shows you how to do that. What I'm going to do here is just show you the best bits and the things you need to make it sound great as soon as you start using it. Now, we've just had these arrive in our stores, so you can either order online from our website or you can come and collect one from the stores. Just give us a call first just to make sure there's one available, because they are in short supply in their early days. So check the links below this movie. We also offer part exchange as well, so if you have a keyboard you want to upgrade to a Wave 2, then get in touch and chances are we'll be able to take it off your hands and make the process of moving up to a Wave 2 much easier for you. So let's get on with the movie. Of course, what you want to do is hear lots of sounds, so I'm not going to waffle all the way through this. I'm actually going to interject my speaking with playing the keyboard as well, just to give you a flavour of some of the sounds that are available. So let's start with some of my favourite atmospheric sounds. So if you're anything like me, when you get a new keyboard, all you want to do is just get your hands on the presets. So first of all, let's just take a look at how the sounds are organised and how you can get to the types of sounds that are important to you as quickly as possible. So the Nord Wave 2 offers lots of different ways to get to the different sounds and programs that are built into it. The first way is, of course, to just turn this value knob left and right, and that goes through them numerically. So you can just simply turn this to audition the different voices. Just note that on the preset sounds, if the title has WHL or AT shown on the screen like this one does here, then that means that either the wheel or the aftertouch will add an effect or make a difference to the sound. So when you're auditioning the presets, just make sure that you take note of that and just try the aftertouch and the wheel control. What you can also do is hold down Shift and turn the value knob, and this puts you into list mode. And then again, you can go through numerically just by turning the value knob, or you can sort the different sounds but alphabetically, and then when you turn the knob it's going through in alphabetical order, or by category. So at the moment you can see it says guitar along the top here. I can change that using the page or the category buttons here, left and right. You change the different categories of sound. Once you've selected a program, you can change what you're viewing about that program. So one thing to note is anything that's written underneath the buttons, you have to hold down Shift to access that function. So I want to access the program view function, so I hold down Shift, press program view. This is telling me the program name is Hanger Choir and it's assigned to the vocal category. If we press program view again, it actually shows me which layers are active and what sounds are assigned to those layers. So the Nord Wave 2 has 400 locations where programs can be stored. Lots of them are full up with factory presets, but you can overwrite all 400 with your own sounds if you want to. If you ever want to get the factory sounds back again, just go to nordkeyboards.com website and download the factory programs file. So there are 16 banks and each bank has 25 programs, and those programs are divided into groups of 5. So it's actually a very, very simple system. You use the bank buttons here to go through each group of 5, and you'll see the letter changes every time we go up through 25 different programs. The letter changes there, F, G, H and so on. And then you can use the buttons under the screen to go through each bank of 5 sounds. There's actually a very simple way of doing this as well. If you hold down the Shift and press the numerical pad button, these now you can just simply dial a number in. So if I wanted to go to J44 for instance, we will just go to H-I-J, tap in 44, and there we go, there's a sound. So as you've already heard, the Wave 2 is really good at atmospheric and sort of ethereal and kind of film music type sounds really. We're going to hear some more of those later, but for now let's just have a listen to some of the more traditional synth sounds. So here's just a very quick selection of synth brass sounds that I've put together. So the big deal with the Wave 2 is the fact that you can layer 4 sounds on top of each other. Really, it's like having 4 synthesizers in one. You've got 4 of everything, so you can layer 4 sounds together, like I've already said, but you've got 4 reverb units, you've got 4 effects units, you've got 4 delay units, and literally it's 4 synths that you can stack on top of each other, and you end up with some huge sounds when you do that. So it all revolves around the layer section in the center of the control panel here. So let's just take a look at that in a bit more detail and how you can mix and match the different synths to suit the type of sounds you're creating. So we'll start off with a very simple sound. I just have one layer active here, and that's indicated by the green light here. And I can just play a chord, and there we go, just a nice warm synth pad sound. So by default, the slider here changes the level or the volume of that particular layer. And if you hold down the pan button here, then you can pan the sound using the slider either from the left to the right hand side of the stereo spectrum. If we want to activate a different layer, let's maybe choose layer B. It just jumps to layer B, so that's turned off layer A, and we've now got layer B active. If I want to mix them both together, just press the two buttons together. And then of course you can mix and match the levels of the sound to suit your own preference. In this particular program, I've got other sounds waiting to be active in layers C and D, so let's bring in layer C as well. So to layer 3 together, you literally just press 3 buttons together and we get this kind of sound. So I've added a little sort of arpeggiated sound here. And then finally I'll bring in layer D, so I'll press all 4 together and I have a synth lead sound on layer D. Of course the keyboard is split, that's indicated with these lights here. You can have 3 keyboard splits, and each of these can be assigned to where you want on the keyboard, either sides of the splits. So in this particular example we have the pad sound and the arpeggiated little synth sound here in the left, and I have my lead sound in the right, so I can get an effect like this. So as you've seen, you can split the keyboard. What I haven't been able to find out if you can do or not yet is to use a sustain pedal to just sustain, for instance, the sounds in the lower part of the keyboard, which frees you up to play a synth lead or something in your right hand whilst you're using a pedal to continuously sustain the left hand parts. You can do it on the Nord stage. I haven't found a way in the Wave 2 yet, but maybe if someone from Nord is watching this video, you could leave it in the comments if there is a way to do that. So let's just take a listen to some more really great sounds from this keyboard. So we've looked at how to select programs and how to control the layers. What I'm going to do now is just break it down to one individual layer and use the effects section to demonstrate some of the different effects that are available. So like I've said, you can have different effects on each individual layer. So what we're going to do is just work with one single layer and then use that layer to route through the effects, which is it's a very simple panel layout, because it's just like a guitarist with their different effects pedals. Where you've got an effects section, you've got an overdrive and an EQ section, you've got delay, and then you've got reverb, and you can switch them all on and off independently as you please. So let's just take a look at the first effects. So I'm just going to start off with a very basic single layer polysynth sound, which is this. And we're going to come over to this section here, the effects section, and switch it on. And the first effect you'll see is tremolo. And you just press the button here to scroll through the different effects that are available to you. And remember that this effects unit is independent for each of the 4 layers, so you can switch it on and off and have 4 different effects, one for each of the layers. So I'm actually going to select the chorus effect here for this particular sound because it works nicely with this. And I can choose the amount of chorus here and the speed or the rate of the chorus here. Let's take a different example. I'm going to change now to an electric piano sound, and it sounds something like this. That has a little bit of reverb on it. I can switch the reverb off, switch it on again, do the same thing, change the different effects just by pressing the button there. You've got the overall amount of reverb here, so but again, let's go back to the effects section, switch it on, and this time I've got the tremolo effect selected, which works nicely with the electric piano. But in addition to that, I'm now going to switch on the overdrive as well. Just turn that up a little bit. Just gives that sound a bit more bite. Let's select a different example. In this one, this is an effect I like to use, especially on an arpeggiated sound. So let's take this sound again. So I've got the arpeggiator on there. I can turn it off, turn it on. And let's use the auto pan. So I switch it on, select auto pan. And as long as you've got stereo speakers plugged in or a pair of headphones on, you'll hear that sound going from the left to the right channels. Again, let's add some reverb to that. So on this example, I'm going to use the cathedral reverb. So it's important to remember that we are just dealing with single layers here, just single sounds. So you've got to kind of realize the potential of the keyboard by layering the 4 layers together, or the 4 voices together. Then you start to get some nice rich textures, as you'll hear elsewhere in this video. So in this final example of the effects, I've got a synth lead sound. What I'm going to do is add some overdrive to this. So turn on the drive, turn it up a little bit. And again, let's add some reverb. And on this time, we're going to add some delay as well. So as you can see, the effects are very powerful and also very flexible, and as with everything on the Nord Wave 2, very, very hands-on. So it's great, you don't have to go through lots of menus to create variations in the sound. Everything is hands-on. It's great for a performer. So if you're a music creator, bass sounds are very, very important. So I've just put together a very short montage of some of the bass voices that are in the Wave 2. So as you could hear, the Wave 2, it's great at digital sounds and big pad sounds and ethereal sounds, but also just getting back to basic synth basses, it's really good at that too. The MIDI connectivity is really good, as well as the 4 parts you've got here. You've also got 4 external parts that you can control using this. And what I did find is that I actually linked it up to Cubase, and I was running Superior Drummer, and it automatically picks up the MIDI clock sync so that the arpeggiator runs in sync automatically. You don't even have to go into the menus, it just picks up a MIDI clock coming in, and then it overrides its own internal clock and it syncs up to MIDI clock, no problem at all. So for me, as a bit of a lazy sound creator, I've found one of the most useful features in the Wave 2 is being able to copy one individual layer from one program into that of another program. So just give you an example of that, I have here a nice choir sound, so just take a listen to this. But I thought it would be really nice to introduce a bit of movement into that sound, perhaps with an arpeggiator. And like I said, I'm quite lazy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find another program that has the kind of sound that I want to then be able to copy another layer into that choir voice. So I have here a different sound. This is called Icescape. And hear how it has that kind of movement going on in it there. So let's just find that particular sound, which I happen to know is on layer A. So let's just listen to layer A on its own. There, so I'm going to take that particular sound and copy it into the choir program, into the empty layer, so that I get the two mixed together. And it's very, very simple to do. All you do is you hold down the monitor copy button, choose the layer you want to copy. So I'm going to copy layer A, and it tells me it's copied layer A to the clipboard. So then we find our choir sound, which I have set up here, and I can then just press Shift and copy and paste it into the empty layer, layer D there. So let's just take a listen. Now I should have the choir and that arpeggiated sound mixed together. There. Now you'll hear the tempo is slightly different. That's because the tempo of the choir program was actually set to a bit slower. So let's just speed that up again. Here we go. And then with two button pushes, just press store and store again, and it stores that program, complete the choir sound and the arpeggiated voice all mixed together as one program. So a very powerful feature of the Wave 2 is the morph function. Now this is something that has been available on the Nord stage keyboards for many years now, and here it is on the Wave 2, and it's even more powerful. There's so many things you can do with it. So if you're not familiar with the morph feature, what it does is allow you to assign pretty much any controller movements, or any of the knob movements, to either the wheel here, or to the aftertouch, or the velocity, or to a controller pedal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my wheel here to control two different parameters at the same time. You can actually assign lots of parameters to one controller movement, but what I'm going to do is make it so that the wheel here adjusts the volume of the third layer, so that's layer C, and raises the pitch of it at the same time. So at the moment we have no sound. Let's just bring the volume up. So that's the sound that I want to raise the volume when I move the wheel. So all we have to do is hold down the wheel button in the morph section, turn the volume up where we want it to go to maximum, and that's it done. So I have no sound. Now I turn the wheel and it brings the volume up to where I set it. The other thing that I would like to do is I want to raise the pitch when the wheel goes forwards as well. So again, hold down the wheel button. I've got my pitch control here, so I'm just going to turn that to raise it up 12 semitones, so an octave. So now if you listen, when I play the chord, I can bring up the wheel, and it's also raised the pitch of the sound as well. Now, another useful function that I like, again, I use this on my Nord Stage 3. It's now on the Nord Wave. Let's select a different sound here. I've got a synth pad sound, so just turn the volume up a little bit. What I can do here is use the keyboard hold. I find this a really useful function because you can play a chord, press hold, take your hands off, and it carries on, which then, let's turn the volume down again just so you can hear me, which you can then frees you up to play other voices. You could do a synth lead solo, or you could do a bit of piano. So to put these functions to good use, I've created a program that works really well for the title track from the 1999 film American Beauty. So just to show you what I'm going to do in this particular example is I can play a synth pad sound here, press hold, and that carries on playing. And then I could choose piano. But it'd be really nice if that piano has some reverb on it. So the Wave 2 has this really beautiful cathedral reverb. Let's just stop that for a second. Just take a listen to this. Let's listen to the piano without the reverb first of all. So I actually like that piano sound. It's called Grandma's Upright, very mellow piano sound. Now if I turn on the reverb, I've got it set to cathedral here. So really lovely natural reverb. I'm going to select a marimba sound as well, so same thing, put the reverb on. Hear how natural that decay of that reverb is. So what we're going to do is put everything together that we've got here. We've got the pad sound, we've got the piano, we've got the marimba, and I've got that other synth sound which I've already set up on the Morph and raised the pitch and raised the volume. And it's just really to show you how effective it is with the layer and how powerful it is, and with using some of these performance features like the Morph and the keyboard hold. So just take a listen to this program. So that really brings me to the end of my overview of the Wave 2. As you can see, it's a very versatile synthesizer. I think that's because you can layer four things together, like I've already said, but also you've got all the different types of synthesis. You've got virtual analog synthesis, you've got wavetable, you've got FM, and of course you can load samples into it. Now, Nord have launched the Sample Editor 3, which is for PC and Mac, and it's literally a case of getting WAV files and dragging and dropping them into the software, and all you've got to do is link the keyboard to your computer via USB and it just loads them in. So there are loads of samples available on Nord's own website, but also you can load in your own samples too. So it really does make the keyboard very versatile. So whether this is going to be used as a songwriting tool in the studio, or whether you need it as a second keyboard on stage, it does the job in whatever context you need it, really. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've really tried to keep the waffling to a minimum, but when you've got a keyboard that's as in-depth, and it's not really a complex keyboard, so I've actually found it very easy to use, but it's capable of so much, it's hard not to just keep talking about it, but it really is an excellent machine. It's a high-end synth, very, very well made, and the Nord build quality is really excellent. I think it's quite inspirational in its sounds. So like I say, when you get one, or when you get your hands on one, go through the presets, but use the copy and paste feature I showed you, because you can start to mix and match some really great sounds that way. But if you buy one from Bonner's Keyboards, then I'm often around, where you can speak to me or email me directly if you need some help with the keyboard you've purchased from us. And like I say, we do part exchange as well, so do get in touch. Check the links below this movie for information on pricing and finance deals, that kind of thing. And if you've got any questions, then again, find the contact links on our website, and we'll be pleased to help you. So thanks very much for watching this movie, and I'll see you in another one of my keyboard demonstration movies.